Hey everybody, let's see if we can do this just a little. Welcome to the D. Louise book series. I'm Christina Kristina. This is where we read books, talk about books, no special effects here. I read mostly series books. I like character progression. We've got a child being naughty. If you'll excuse me. Casanova, get down. Get down. Get down. Sorry, no editing skills here. So we do series. I'm a series person. I like series books. I like character progression from book to book to book. I do Star Trek Next Generation. While we solve an issue each episode, we still have character progression from episodes to episode. My biggest pet peeve thus far, Geordi was offered real eyes back in season 2. They have yet to allow him to do such thing as get the real eyes. I feel bad for LeVar Burton having to wear that clunky thing. You'd think that technology would improve and maybe his visor would get thinner or lighter, or they could do optics or surgery. But no, they're making him walk around with this clunky thing on his head. And where are my glasses? I can't see nothing. So last week, we started with, this is season 4, disc 5. We did Night Terrors 191. Today we are doing Identity Crisis. Next week will be Ninth Degree, and the week after we'll see John D. Lance again in Q. And I to tell you the truth, before I forget, I could use some subscribers. I had hoped for a Christmas miracle of 1,000 subscribers. Obviously, I didn't even come close. Hell, I didn't even break the 40s or 50s. I hovered around 150, 149, 148, 150, 149, 148. I had a whole bunch of people subscribed about Christmas time. And I surpassed 150. And then you all unsubscribed. People watch, and I could use some likes too, by the way. Come here. You can't see my co-hosts with the Star Trek. You can see them with the book videos, and I would hope that you would check out the book videos. This is Miss I Do Not Want to Appear on Camera. This is not the emotional support cat. My emotional support cat died a few months ago. And the emotional support cat is the one that will let you hold them whenever you want to hold them. They will stay on your lap for as long as you want to hold them. Anything you want. Then there's the I will let you hold me when I feel like it. I will stay in your lap when I feel like it. And that's this. When I feel like it. Oh, good grief. Now, anyways, we can't live without the old glasses. My distance is really spectacular. My reading, I'm blind. Okay. So now that my other co-host has calmed down, I'm sorry for the noise. Let's see if we can get him on camera. There he is. Over there. So let's see if we can fix it. I'm sorry for the noise. I did not know it made noise. It doesn't make noise on my end. But apparently when you watch the video back, it makes noise. Hey, I could use a new computer. These Star Trek videos take me up to 3 days to do. And then once I get it done, it takes like 6 hours to upload. You may have the fastest internet speed out there with your cable provider. But if you've got a turtle for a computer, that's as fast as you are going to move as the turtle. So here we are, identity crisis. And I tell you, it was an episode featuring LaForge, which was good. We've done a lot of him lately with Leah Brahms. And I really didn't care for this too much. So we'll get into it. I really wish we could do some of these live. We could do some back and forth. But there's all these copyright issues, and I have no idea what I could do and what I couldn't do. So we just have to live with it this way. So we are in identity crisis. And my pal is going off again. She's, for 20 years, she was stuck at 10. I put a new battery in her. Now she's stuck at 9:30. She never rings or bings the correct time ever. So let's see if we can get this identity crisis. Here we are. Season 4, Disc 5, Episode 191. So here we go. So we're starting off a few years in the past. They really don't tell you that. They don't really explain it up front until later on. So that's a little confusing that they don't take the time to explain the situation first. They present it, then they explain. So we'll get to that. And we got I'll get to that too. Okay. So their USS Victory NCC 9754 away team sensor log, stardate 40164.7 1729:59. And they don't explain. I'm looking at all these people and I don't know them. I know Geordi, but I don't know them. They did not explain this in advance. So we're on this planet supposedly, and very, very low tech. But so they're on this planet, Tarkanian, and Breville does the overview. Tarkanian 3 investigation, Stargate 40164.7, Ensign Anthony Breville recording. Lieutenant Susan Leitchen in command. Susanna comes to him and says, "Are you up and running?" He says, "Yes, Lieutenant." And LaForge comes in and says he checked buildings 4 and 5, just like the others. No phaser hits, no sign of life. It's like the whole outpost just vanished. So obviously there must have been an outpost on here at one point. And he says, Hickman says, "Lieutenant Light, you come see this. There's no footprints. There's no vehicle marks. The wind probably just erased them. But look," he holds up a uniform. And then we discover that we're not actually on this planet, that we're all watching it together in the future. I'll show this first. Apparently, she's giving a presentation. And they're showing, they just found the guy's uniform and that's it. And they're all just standing there like that. So apparently there was 5 of them when they went down. Now there's only 4 of them. Okay, so she's briefing Picard, Riker, and Geordi. Susanna says, "That's Hickman on the right, Mendez on the left, and as already noted, the recording was made by Ensign Breville 5 years ago." Picard says, "Commander Lighton, you said that before Breville deserted Starbase 112 last week, he'd been ill for several days. What about Mendez?" She says Mendez was seen on Ares an hour before she disappeared. According to witnesses, she seemed completely normal. Riker says, "And Hickman? He just passed a routine physical on Aleph 4 with flying colors." LaForge says, "Now wait a minute. I know Paul Hickman. He's a family man. He's got 2 kids. He wouldn't steal a shuttle and desert." Susanna says, "Geordi, he was spotted by a Federation supply ship yesterday on course to Takmin 3. Picard says, "The original Takmin disappearances were never resolved, were they?" Susanna says, "No. We never learned what happened or why. 49 people gone." Riker says, and 5 years later, the away team that was investigating their disappearance have started to disappear themselves. Geordi and I are the only ones left, she said. Now, excuse me? Why has it taken 5 years to investigate the disappearance of 49 people? I mean, you started this investigation 5 years ago, obviously. And then you abandoned it 5 years ago. And now the people are being infected. It took 5 years for the infection to take hold or the parasite to take hold. It lay dormant through all of these physicals, all of the beamings on and off, and transporter this and transporter that, and planet this and planet that. It took 5 years. That all those medical scans never found the anomaly in the thymus. You know, you're asking for a lot here. Because, you know, supposedly, and I'm probably wrong, and I will admit I'm probably wrong, but I had thought that when you go through the transporter thing, it might clean you out a little bit. You know, they've used it before. And when we get there, and it will be a while before we get there, because we still got to do the rest of this and the movies and such. But when we get to Voyager, and we get to the Felix, Neelix, and Tuvok merge, we do all this transporter stuff. They do all this transporter stuff now. The doctor thing. A couple of, was it last season? Where they used her hair from her hairbrush to reconfigure her. You know, with all this technology, you want me to buy this. And then you gotta tell me if they're green suits. You know, body suits. Or if they're body suits with the glow in the dark stuff, or if they're the green body suits for the green screen and then it's shown on them. We'll have to talk about that then. So we go through all this. Then we have credits. And I'm still watched. Wait a second. Oh, wait, I missed it. Sorry, I really goofed here. But I wanted to point out the black space, and I missed it. I can reverse, but I don't want to go through all that. Wesley Crusher, where Will Wheaton's name would have been. It's still a big empty space. I just wanted to mention that. In Ode, I'm still trying to figure out why he left after the season started. Why couldn't he have left at the end of the season? But no, he had to leave in the 3rd or 4th episode of the season. We did it, but it's still a blank space. And I had another question. So we get a captain's overview. We set a course to intercept Lieutenant Hickman's stolen shuttlecraft and hopefully to discover the whereabouts of the other missing officers. So I got a question. She's still a lieutenant. Now, it's been 5 years whenever their mission was. She's still a lieutenant. But Geordi's now a commander. So he outranks her now? What happened? I'm just a little confused, would like a little clarification on this. Maybe I should ask those peeps on Facebook, they'll know. But, so Geordi now outranks her, whereas before she outranked him. My question. Okay, so then they're reminiscing about the past, and it they give they insinuate that there was a relationship here somehow. I don't get it. I mean, all his stuff with Brahms. Um, so they're like, and then I almost married Bogo, and he's like, Bogo, and she's like, yeah. Which one was he? He goes, you remember the one with the thin mustache? Oh, nah, Bogo. She goes, I know. The one who always used to drive you crazy. You always thought he was so full of himself. Well, I prejudged him unfairly, and I decided that I'd been right, and she gave him a try, and then um she decided she was right in the first place. So they have this little intimate remembrance conversation that really has no relevance to nothing. Um, so um, so then there's after their conversation here, they say, well, if anybody's going to figure it out, it'll be the Lighton and the Ford show. Huh? Okay. Did we have something else besides a professional relationship here? Are we two old friends catching up? I just didn't get it. We're on the bridge now. And I like to point out that we have a female ensign in the spot again with lines. Do you notice that most of our ensigns have been female and they have had lines? When there's been a male in the chair, he hasn't had lines. The females have had lines. Just gonna point that out. And names. Names and lines. Bragging rights forever. Am I right? Hey, I got to appear on Star Trek. I got to appear on the bridge. I got a few lines. I got to appear with the main cast. I mean, you couldn't ask for more than that. It's awesome. So, entering the Takarian system, sir. Picard says slow to impulse power. Mr. Worf says long-range sensors holding on the shuttlecraft bearing 010 Mark 271. Picard says hail the vessel. Worf says Lieutenant Hickman does not respond, sir. Picard says put a repeat message on all subspace channels. Order the lieutenant to come about and to stand. Make it a priority 1 communique. So, you're going to explain to me the Enterprise just couldn't move a little faster? A warp 1 or 2 maybe? Zoomed in a little faster? They've got the huge ship. They can do this. They can run instead of walk. They can get there a little faster. But oh no, this whole sequence is, we're just too far away. We can't do it. Sorry, that was really blonde. Oh yes, I know the plot line. But they're this big, huge starship. They can't just zoom a little further. So they're trying to communicate with him. They say the craft is in visual range. They put it on screen. Data says the shuttle's acceleration is increased and the trajectory is moving directly into the planet's atmosphere. He will reach an atmospheric interface at an altitude of 210 kilometers. Riker says if he stays at that speed, he'll self-destruct. Yeah! You knew this! Couldn't you just hooked it a little faster? Couldn't you just speed it up? Couldn't you just move the Enterprise just a little bit faster? I know. Storyline. That is correct, Commander. How soon, Mr. Data? 53 seconds. Options. Graham, he's out of transporter range. He's still too far to get a positive lock with the tractor beam, Captain. Open a channel. Open. Lieutenant Hayden, listen, Captain. This is Captain Picard of the Enterprise. You are in danger. You must slow your rate of approach. The shuttle is approaching the outer thermosphere, Captain. All this time, all this talking. You tell me they just couldn't have warped a little, took a little jump, gone through the Stargate, and beat it, pushed it back? I'm just saying. They're doing all this talking, and the shuttle gets destroyed. They all just stand there, and the thing gets destroyed. That's worth mentioning a second time. They're all just standing there. They couldn't have just forwarded jumped a little. Sorry, pet peeve. Okay, I want to point this out a little bit here. Yes, it's a foggy planet. I think Voyager had an episode like this. But I used to watch, there was this vampire show on several, 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago. It didn't last too long, very few episodes. The problem was that in trying to make that mysterious feeling, it was dark. You couldn't see anything. You want me to watch a black screen? You have character dialogue, they're all acting their brains out. But us, the audience, can't see anything. You'd watch the episode and then a commercial would come on, you would, ah! Your eyes would get shot. You watched it, I think I watched 2 or 3 episodes and I was like, screw this shit. It's dark. You can't see them. Didn't this planet ever have a daytime? Is that why the characters or the beings they turn into glow in the dark? Because you couldn't see them in the daytime? It was the planet's atmosphere? I'm telling you, what's the point if you can't see your characters? Yeah, I know, atmosphere, but I still can't see them. And I like to be able to see my characters. I'm just saying. So, Riker says, Commander Light and Geordi, check out the shuttle. Data, Worf, you've got the perimeter. Suzanne says it's the shuttle pod that Mendez stole from the Ares, and they find footprints. And Data says, no signs of life, Commander. Worf says, I am certain we are being watched. You are being watched! You know, it must be my TV. There you are. See it? See it? I thought it was the moon when they first beamed down because it was in the spot and it looked like the moon. But it follows them. It goes around the scene. See how it keeps moving? It's still in the scene. You see? It just keeps moving. Isn't that weird? So, then Susanna's disappeared. And we gotta find Susanna. She has this incident. They find another uniform. You know, did it occur to you that it was a snake shedding its skin? I mean, that's what it felt. That's what it. You know, they're shedding the uniform and they're gaining that glow in the dark suit. Now look how light it is over here in this section. Oh, and there's my light again. But look how light it is back there. How come I don't get it? I've got a real big beef with the lighting of this particular episode. Sorry. Geordi finds her There's my light again. And I thought it was me, but I've moved the thing a couple times and it's not me. It's so dark. How are you supposed to follow the episode if you can't see it? So they find her. The Forge says, "Where have you been? Mendez and Breville are alive. You just saw the footprints? Yeah, but they're not human." Says, "They're here. Just stand still and listen. You can feel it. They're here. I'm not picking up anything. Wait a minute. Where are you going, Susanna?" Susanna says, "Stay away." And they get her up to sick bay. She struggles. Now, he saves her. And then she later on saves him. See pro quo, something like that, right? So they get her up to sick bay. Susanna says, "Do I look as bad as I feel?" The Forge says, "You look fine now." Susanna says, "What happened?" Crusher says, "Your blood chemistry is way off. You had a histamine response to what I don't know. I'm going to run a complete blood and tissue analysis." Susanna says, "I need to get back to the surface." Crusher says, "Until we have some answers, I don't want you to leave the Enterprise." Susanna says, "I have work to do." Crusher says, "Look, Commander, you may have just had an anxiety reaction down there, but I've got to know for sure." The Forge says, "Might not be such a bad idea to take it easy for a while." Susanna says, "I'm not going to stay locked up on this ship while the investigation's going on." Picard says, "Your devotion to duty is admirable, Commander. But Dr. Crusher is right. You will remain on the Enterprise until we know whether or not this is connected to the disappearance of the others." Okay, so then Picard comes in, and she's got the overwhelming desire. She needs to go back. She needs to go to the planet. Well, that's why everybody else went to the planet too. That's why they all stole the shuttlecrafts and went to the planet, because they had the overwhelming draw to it. But I still don't understand why it took 5 years. I still don't understand. I just don't understand the time lapse. And I still don't understand why no one else has gone back to the planet to investigate sooner. Why it's been 5 years since they investigated. But Susanna's like, "Captain," Picard's like, "We've completed our survey on the surface, and analyzing the data will keep us busy for a while." Susanna says, "Yes, sir, I understand." The Forge says, "Data's got a preliminary report if you're up to it." Susanna says, "Sure, let's get going." Geordi and Susanna leave. What about LaForge? Crusher says, "I gave him a complete bioscan. The results say he is in perfect shape." Picard says, "That's what all the reports said about Hickman and Mendez before they disappeared." He's got a point. Still don't understand why we're so advanced in this time and place that all their scans couldn't have shown an abnormality in the thyroid or thymus. They do all these scans, they do all this molecular stuff. And you're also telling me the number of times that they beamed in and beamed out and beamed down and beamed in and beamed out, it wasn't detected or wasn't erased. I'm just saying. Oh, there's my pal. Still stuck at 9:30. Last year it was 10. I gave her a new battery. Now she's at 9:30. So anyways, I found my light. See my light? It's my light. I moved the TV around. The light moved with it. It wasn't them. It was me. So she's itching like crazy to get back to the surface, and she starts shaking, and she's gotten all these symptoms and stuff. So there's the footprints that they discovered. They're baby footprints, sorta, kinda. So Data says, "During microscopic examination of the torn uniform, I discovered these alien skin cells." Susanna says, "Source." Data says, "Undetermined." LaForge says, without something else to cross-reference, it could take us weeks to try and identify him. Data says, unfortunately, we have more evidence. We were able to determine that these footprints found near the shuttle were not made by any known Chakarian life form. Susanna says, if we're pursuing a theory that somehow unknown aliens are involved, I think I should tell you that we didn't find tracks like this during the original investigation. Data says the planet is subject to frequent sandstorms. Footprints might have been obliterated prior to your arrival. Dr. Crush and I will begin to search the medical database in an attempt to match these with some known life form. So then they're in the turbo lift. Aliens or no aliens, why would our people stop returning after 5 years to be abducted? LaForge says some sort of compulsion, like a post-hypnotic command. Susanna says something that happened while we were down there the first time. LaForge says we can go back to the mission record, construct a log of everyone's movements. Susanna says look for some commonality, something we all touched, maybe a plant or the sand. LaForge says, or even something we ingested. It could even be in the air itself. Okay, so we're in Dr. Crush's office. The parameters are pretty broad, Data. Any match we make is going to be inconclusive at best. Data says, I'm aware of that, Doctor. However, I see no other reasonable course of investigation available to us, and we may not have much time. Crusher says, you're worried about Geordi, aren't you? Data says, I'm an android. It is not possible. And Crusher finishes this sentence for you to feel anxiety. Starfleet personnel have vanished. Others may be at risk. We must do the best we can to find out why. However, I'm strongly motivated to solve this mystery. Go, Data! Go, Data! Go, go, go. Sorry, little enthusiastic here today. So George is watching the sensor logs, and Susanna is getting jumpy. LaForge says, freeze visuals. Susanna says, we're wasting our time. LaForge says, that's not how you felt before. It was your idea to look for some sort of commonality. Yeah, well, I was wrong. We're not going to find anything this way. We should go back to the planet. We need to go back to the planet. I need to go back to the planet. I need to go. I need. Sorry. Get a little carried away there. Sorry. But it's the compulsion. It's the overall anxiety. It's the creature that's making her want to go down. And she eventually, they have this conversation and they discuss stuff, and then she ends up collapsing, and her fingers end up glued together. There was another race. Didn't Riker do that race where fingers were glued together? We're in sick bay, and Crusher says her blood pressure is still falling. Apply the T-cell simulator. We've got to stabilize her immune system. And then Alyssa leaves. And Picard and Geordi come into the room. So obviously, she's light sensitive now, and she explains this to them, and she's like, Geordi, where are you? Geordi, I need you. I thought they were co-workers. There's I guess they're trying to show an emotional connection when Geordi saved her those times. Now at the end, she's going to save him. They had that little personal moment in 10-4 to show a friendship. So she's not married. She's still single, I guess. So I guess she's a close friend. If he's such a close friend, how come we never heard about her before and we'll never see her again? So then we're in Dr. Crusher's office, and she says this is one of Susanna's altered skin cells. This is one of the alien cells Data found. They're almost identical. How do you explain that? Crusher says, Jean-Luc, I think people from Tacharian 3 who disappeared weren't abducted. I think they were transformed into another species. LaForge says, can you stop it? Crusher says, the T-cell simulator will slow the rate of change, but until I find the cause. Picard said, is the Enterprise at risk? Crusher says, no. I checked the cell wall integrity. Its viability is extremely low. But until I find the cause, so I don't think that it's possible for Susanna to transmit it. Then how did she get it? I wish I knew. The only thing I know, Geordi, is that it's very possible that you will be next. Duh! Should we hear the dun 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 in the background? Should we play that music in all those B horror movies? They always play that music. Dun 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 dun. I can't sing. I'm tone deaf. I'm horrible with it. So don't look at me. So Jordy complains. He said 2 bioscans, and you said he was fine. Again, they have all this technology. They have all this technology, and they haven't been able to find this thing until it. I know, storyline. We didn't go looking for it. We didn't know it was there, so we didn't know to look for it in the brain. We were looking all other places, but we didn't look in the brain. So, Jordy doesn't want to spend his last hours in sickbay. He agrees to stay on board the ship, and he's going to go back to engineering and try to replay stuff. And then he's down there. Let's see if we get to it. So then he's down in engineering, and he's replaying stuff, and he's freezing the frame and backing the frame out, and showing this person and showing that person and showing this person. And then he's like, Data comes in and asks if he needs help, and Data asks him if you've done this and that, and Voyager's like, yes, Data, and spectroanalysis, and a screen for ionization radiant, and I've even done an enhancement for microseismic disturbances. I've tried it all, okay? I'm sorry, Data. Data's like, there's no need for an apology. Perhaps if you indulge in a brief rest period, you would be able to approach this problem with a fresh point of view. LaForge says, yeah, you're probably right, Data, but I've got to keep scanning these records while I can. Data says, can I help you? LaForge says, if I knew what I was looking for, really, Data, it's just a matter of me going over it, maybe finding something I forgot. I'll let you know if I come across anything, all right? And then Data leaves, and he goes back to his computer thing. So then we're back in sickbay. And Aguana says, sorry to disturb you, Doctor. Crusher comes in. That's all right. What happened? I thought you should see this. And shines a light on the Susanna. Her skin is simulating light, a radiant reaction, some sort of magnetic ability. Aguana says not all. Her body temperature is dropping. Crusher, if it's as if she's generating a disruptive field. I can barely get any readings of her now. What's her rate of transformation? Aguana says it's increasing. Crusher said that's not possible. It should have been inhibited by this T-cell stimulator, unless it's a foreign body inside her. Well, duh! All these bioscans, all these scans you've been doing, all this technology you have, all these years, all these physicals she's had, a foreign body was never detected before? Just saying. So then we're back in engineering with the Forge, and he goes through all this different stuff, and then he's like, you know what? Let's try the holodeck. The holodeck will be good. And he goes through the holodeck, and he finds something. He goes through it, and he sees something that wasn't there before. He sees a shadow. So then Dr. Crusher has figured out. She says there in the thymus, some sort of parasite is using immune system to spread genetic instructions. How come you didn't see this before? How come you didn't find the foreign entity in the body before? All your scans, all your biodata, all your stuff you're doing, you never saw a foreign body. I'm just saying. She's like, how did it get there? She could have become infected during the original mission. It's small enough to have entered through any of the mucous membranes, but it certainly isn't behaving like a typical parasite. It isn't feeding off her. It's transforming her DNA to match its own. And we're going to need unaltered genes, or we'll never get her back now. Go get the hairbrush! But even then, if the hairbrush had stuff on it, it's a recent hairbrush. Well, that means it's within the. Don't you need something that's older than 5 years? Don't you need her DNA before she was infected? I'm just saying. Crusher announces that her surgery was successful and she removed the thing, and that it's going to be a few more hours before she can her systems are back to normal. And she wants them to send LaForge to her, and they're trying to find LaForge, and the computer's not recognizing his body signature anymore. And they're like, Data's like, I'm not showing any transporter activity. Worf is like, there are no shuttles. Riker says negative. There's no indication that he left the ship. And Picard says, computer, when was the last known location of Forge? The holodeck. They all head to the holodeck. In the meantime, his clear, bubbly figure is in the transporter room, and he transports down. And then we're back on the bridge, and Data says, Captain, the security lockout on transporter room 6 has been broken. Picard says, re-engage now. Data says, I cannot, sir. The transporter cycle's already begun. Then we get a captain's overview, and I want to ask y'all why. I guess it's to add suspense. I guess it's to add a little ooh to the situation. They always put time limits on stuff. Oh, we've only got 5 minutes to do this. Blah, 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 blah. That 5 minutes could take an hour's episode. You know it. You know it. And this one is like, we've only got an hour before Commander LaForge's transformation becomes irreversible. We gotta go save him now. You've had 5 years. They always do this. They always put this little time frame on it. Sometimes it's a minute, sometimes it's 5 minutes, and then they always got to do the countdown. Well, this one doesn't have a countdown, but I'm just saying. You know, like with that shuttle early in the episode, Data's like 16 seconds, 10 seconds, 5 seconds, boom! They could have used all that time. All that time they wasted with trying to keep. Why didn't they just zoom in the Enterprise and grab him back? But no, we had to have all that. He had to die for plot reasons. Don't you hate it when people gotta die for plot reasons? They need better reasons than that. The probe thingy. And Riker's like, how long? Data's like, I must replace the emitter module and reconnect the power supply. It will take approximately 2 minutes to complete this modification, sir. I must do, but by the time he finishes saying it all, he'll be done. Hedrick to Commander Riker. Riker says, go ahead. I've been able to determine LaForge's transport coordinates. He beamed down next to the Ares shuttle. Riker says, acknowledge he's on foot. He couldn't have gone far. Let's assume a radius of 10 kilometers. That leaves a search area of more than 300 square kilometers. We've got to narrow down what's happening with the enhanced sensor arrays. Worf says all scans are negative. Riker says, we've got to find a way to find him. We got to hurry up. We got to go get him. We got to. Okay. Sorry. So then we see Geordi on the surface. He's glowing in the dark. So he wore a green suit, right? Did he wear a green suit and they put this over him, or was it a glow-in-the-dark suit to begin with? Oh, look, and he can see he doesn't have his visor on. And so now that Susanna's been cured, she's the only one that can save him. She has to be the one to go down there. She has that connection with him. They're together. She is the only one that can save him. Oh, it just occurred to me, Troy's not on this episode at all. We don't see Deanna at all. And, Data's supposed to be Geordi's best friend in the whole world. And this woman she's not part of the ship. She's from another ship, right? Or is she part of this ship? We don't ever see her again. So who knows what's going on there. But she's the only one that can save him. There's no love. They're really good friends. Why couldn't Picard. Oh, I know, it had to be a female. And if Troy's not here, and we have this friendship connection here, all right, I'll let it go. I'm wrong. I know, I'm always wrong. So she's got to be the one to go down because she knows what he's going through. She knows she can relate to him mentally. Okay. I passed it. Sorry, I passed it. But she's like, Jordy, touch my hand, and I'll save you. And he trusts her enough, and he goes to her, and then he's back on the Enterprise, and he's feeling all better. They give him his visor back so he can see, and Picard says, there's no hope for Bevel and Mendez, and Susanna's like, none. And LaForge is like, Susanna. She's like, I'm right here. Just like she called for Geordi, and he was like, I'm right here for you in the beginning of the episode. Dr. Crusher comes in and gives him his visor and says, Lieutenant Commander LaForge reporting for duty, Captain. Because says, welcome back, Mr. LaForge. Crusher says, Geordi, this species, can you communicate with it? LaForge says, no, they act on instinct alone. In another few minutes, I wouldn't have responded to you, Susanna. Because then we'll leave them be, and I'll order a warning beacons placed in orbit on the surface. Hopefully no one else will have to go through what you did. And they leave. And then LaForge and Susanna have a moment. And she goes, you know, down there, I didn't know who you were, and yet somehow I believed you. I trusted you. He wouldn't have believed Data or Captain or Riker or Worf or any of those people or Troy, but she wasn't here. Obviously. Yes, I know, plotline. Yes, I know, plotline. I'm sorry. I'm just saying. And must have been because of all the good advice I used to give you. And LaForge is like, gee, thanks. And that's it. That's the end of our episode. And so that was Identity Crisis. And you'll have to, we've done Night Terrors. We've just completed Identity Crisis. Stay tuned next week for the Ninth Degree. And Q, John D. Lance comes back for Q. That should be a very annoying the hell out of you episode. Because Q just does that to Picard. He just likes to pull his strings. So I hope you enjoyed this recap of the recap. And I hope that you will join me for future episodes. I hope you go and check all the episodes prior. This is like our 88th or 89th one. And this is our second one of the new 2024. Did you watch the... I saw a clip of it. I didn't watch the whole show. But they had the actress from Saturday Night Live with Anderson Cooper and Andy. And she was doing her 2020. Sorry. Have a good one. Enjoy. Please like and subscribe. Thank you.